Good morning, children. So, we were discussing on beta oxidation, right? That is, how are fatty acids catabolized in the body whenever there is an energy requirement, right? So, the fat is stored in the form of triacyl glycerol or TG. This TG undergoes breakdown to give rise to free fatty acids and glycerol. The glycerols are released into circulation, and in the liver, they will be converted to glycerol 3 phosphate and is again reutilized for triacylglycerol synthesis, TG synthesis. While what happens to the free fatty acids? The free fatty acids will be taken into the mitochondrial matrix after it is undergoing oxidation, because it cannot itself start the beta oxidation in the form of free fatty acids. So the fatty acids has to be first converted into their active form, that is fatty acyl CoA. This is happening in the cytoplasm of liver, adipose tissue, muscle cells, renal cortex, etc. Right? So there it is first undergoing activation. The activation is followed by the transport with the help of carnitine shuttle. And the carnitine takes them from the cytoplasm into the mitochondrial matrix. And in the mitochondrial matrix, the fatty acids are subjected for the catabolism process, which is known as beta oxidation, because it is a beta carbon atom which is undergoing the action of all the enzymes. So it is on the beta position, or it is in between the alpha and the beta position, or it is in between the second and the third carbon atom, starting from the functional group COH or COSCOA, fatty acyl CoA, CoA with respect to the CoA. The position is the second and the third position, in between the bond lying in between the second and the third position, or it can also be told as the bond which is between the alpha and the beta carbon atom. That is the point of breakage, right? So that is why the oxidation is known as beta oxidation. So I think you know the numbering. If you are putting 1, 2, 3, then the first carbon itself, that is COA itself, is acting as a first carbon atom. Our numbering start from the terminal carbon atom itself. So the bond between the second and the third carbon atom is getting broken up. If you are putting the label in the form of alphabets, like Greek alphabets like alpha, beta, gamma. So the alpha carbon will be that carbon atom which is lying next to the COA, right? So always you'll leave the functional group without labeling if you are putting the alphabets. Clear? So that is the difference between alpha or alphabetical numbering and while numeral numbering. Numeral numbering starts from the functional group itself. We count the functional group also for numbering. While in the case of alphabets, you leave the functional group and the penultimate carbon, that is the carbon atom next to the functional group, will be taken into account. So that's the difference between the numbering or the labeling of the carbon atoms, right? So if you are mentioning the alphabets, then it is the bond which is lying between the alpha and the beta carbon atom which is undergoing breakage, and the same bond will be named as second and the third carbon atom if you're putting numerals. Clear? So the bond is always the same, but the difference lies in the labeling. If you are putting alphabets, you call it as the bond between alpha and the beta. While if you are mentioning the numbers, then you call it as the bond between the second and the third carbon atom. Okay. So that is how the beta oxidation happens. And each round of beta oxidation ends up with the release of a 2-carbon moiety, which is our acetyl-CoA. This acetyl-CoA then enters into the TCA cycle and will be bringing about the ATP production. Apart from that, you know that the pathway will be having 4 different steps. The first step is a dehydrogenation or an oxidation step, which is carried out by FAD as a coenzyme. Then second one is a hydratase reaction, or involvement or introduction of a water molecule, right? So that the double bond or the unsaturation is removed, and you introduce an OH group on the third position or the beta carbon atom. Then again, a second round of oxidation is happening, which is carried out by NAD-dependent dehydrogenase enzyme, which converts that OH on the third position or the beta carbon atom with the H is removed in the form of H2, so that NADH plus H plus will be formed, right? So that the OH is replaced with a keto group, right? And the last one is a thiolytic cleavage, that is, we are cleaving. Now it is ready for oxidation. We have introduced a C double bond O there. So now it is ready for breakdown, and the breakdown happens between the alpha and the beta carbon atom, or the second and the third carbon atom. So this is the cycle. It's a cyclic. These are the cycle of events happening during one round of beta oxidation, and this pathway continues, or the cycle repeats till all the carbon atoms are released in the form of acetyl-CoA. So if it is a 16 carbon compound, there will be 7 cycles of, or 7 rounds of beta oxidation happening, releasing 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA. Clear? Now what happens with acetyl-CoA then? It's in the matrix itself, mitochondrial matrix itself. So the acetyl-CoA then immediately enters into the TCA cycle. So that each acetyl-CoA molecules, or acetyl-CoA molecule TCA cycle entry, then how many number of ATPs will be obtained? 12 number of ATPs. Now we are having 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA, right? So 12 into 8, 96 number of ATPs will be obtained from the acetyl-CoA molecules itself. Clear? So now again we are having FAD. Each round of beta oxidation involves the formation of one molecule of FADH2 and one molecule of NADH plus H plus, right? So all these should be taken into account when you are calculating the number of energy or number of ATPs produced, right? So I think you have followed the beta oxidation. The metabolic pathway is over. Now today we are going to discuss about the number of ATPs produced, or the energetics produced. What are the number of, how many number of ATPs are produced during one round of beta oxidation, or one round of beta oxidation, and hence how many number of ATPs can be produced when one molecule of palmitoyl-CoA or one molecule of a 16 carbon fatty acyl-CoA is subjected for beta oxidation. Clear? I've told you that the amount of ATPs, the amount of energy, the quantity of energy produced when one molecule of 1 gram of fat produced is around 3 times than that of the same weight of glycogen when it's undergoing oxidation. Clear? So how is the energy difference happening? Right? So today we are going to discuss the energetics, the regulation, and also the inherited disorders related to beta oxidation. Okay, so shall we go to the pathway, today's topics? Okay, I think you have understood the pathway. You don't have any doubts regarding the beta oxidation. See, so this is, I have summarized again. This is step 1, oxidation carried out by FAD linked dehydrogenase enzyme. You have to remember the 2 different types of coenzymes which are catalyzing the oxidation reactions in the first and the third step. The first step is catalyzed by FAD, right? It's FAD dependent dehydrogenase, while the third is NAD dependent dehydrogenase. You have to keep in mind, right? Because the number of ATP molecules produced by FAD is different from that of NAD. NAD, when one molecule of NADH plus H plus can yield around 3 ATPs or 2.5. Exactly speaking, 2.5 ATPs will be produced, while FAD will be produced only 2 ATPs, or exactly speaking 1.5 ATPs. So when you are calculating the energy, it should be kept in mind. Yeah. So the first round of oxidation is carried out by FAD, while the second round of oxidation is carried out by NAD. Okay, so that's the pathway. Yes. So beta oxidation of palmitic acid involves 7 cycles, thereby producing 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA. So 8 into 2, 16, right? So in each cycle, 1 molecule of FADH2 and 1 molecule of NADH is produced. So 7 cycles are over. 3 plus 2, 5. But 2, approximately 2 for the ease of calculation. If you are taking it as 2 ATPs rather than 1.5 ATPs, then the number of ATPs produced by 1 molecule of FADH2 is 2 ATPs, while NADH plus H plus gives 3 ATPs. So 3 plus 2, 5. Angane 7 rounds are happening. So 7 5s are 35. 35 ATPs. What a round of, either when 16 carbon palmitoyl-CoA is converted into 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA, beta oxidation only yields. Acetyl-CoA the number of ATPs produced only by FADH2 and NADH is itself 35 ATPs. Now apart from that, there are 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA which are entering into TCA cycle. So how many number of ATPs will be produced by acetyl-CoA? 1 round of acetyl-CoA one molecule of acetyl-CoA can yield around 12 ATPs. So 8 molecules are produced. So 12 into 8, around 96 ATPs, right? So 96 ATPs are produced when 7 round of beta oxidation is happening, right? So 96 plus 35. How much is that? 131 ATPs, right? 131, when one molecule of palmitoyl-CoA is subjected for beta oxidation, you get 131 ATPs. So what is happening? See what is happening in the case of glucose. One molecule of glucose is entering into complete oxidation. Aerobic oxidation, we get only 32 ATPs, right? Here we are having 131 ATPs. So that's the difference between beta oxidation and glycolysis. Clear? Even complete oxidation of glycolysis. So 131 ATPs. Pakshe, there is a problem because the first step, that is palmitic acid, palmitoyl-CoA item marumbo, we have consumed one molecule of ATP, right? So that is the palmitic acid. Where is the first step? Yeah. Fatty acid, when was converted into palmitoyl-CoA or fatty acyl-CoA, we have taken we have borrowed one molecule of ATP. So that's AMP and 2 inorganic phosphate were utilized. So 2 molecules of inorganic phosphate is released, right? Energetics calculate, we have to subtract it, right? So initially we have borrowed one molecule of ATP, and from which 2 molecules of ATPs were 2 molecules of phosphate was released or utilized or consumed. So if you are subtracting this 131 minus 2, it gives rise to 129 ATPs. So if one molecule of fatty acyl-CoA is entering into beta oxidation, you get 129 ATP. That is why fats are preferred for energy purposes rather than carbohydrates. Again, one molecule of glucose is 32, we are having 129. Clear? So there's a drastic difference between glucose oxidation and a fatty acid oxidation. About 1 gram you have to calculate, right? So that much amount of energy, huge amount of energy can be liberated or can be utilized by the oxidation of one molecule of fat. Okay. So this is the overall reaction. That is fatty acyl-CoA plus FAD plus NAD plus one molecule of H2O. During hydration reaction. And one molecule of CoA gives rise to CN-2. That is palmitoyl-CoA is converted into a C14 fatty acyl-CoA plus one molecule of FADH2 plus one molecule of NADH plus H plus one molecule of acetyl-CoA. So this is the stoichiometry of the beta oxidation. If we are having complete oxidation of one molecule of palmitoyl-CoA, you get palmitoyl-CoA plus 7 molecules of FAD. That is, we are having 7 round of beta oxidation plus 7 round of 7 molecules of NAD plus 7 molecules of coenzyme A plus 7 molecules of water. Coenzyme A, you see the last step, thiolytic cleavage is happening, right? So CoA has to be introduced so that we will be having acetyl-CoA പോകുമ്പോൾ ഈ CoA നെ കൊണ്ടുപോയി. അപ്പൊ നെക്സ്റ്റ് ഫാറ്റി ആസിഡ് C14 ഫാറ്റി ആസിഡ് ഫോം ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഫാറ്റി അസൈൽ-CoA നെ നമുക്ക് സിന്തസൈസ് ചെയ്യണം, വേണ്ടേ? അപ്പൊ എന്ത് വേണം? CoA അവിടെ വരണം. അതിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടാണ് ഓരോ റൗണ്ടിലും 1 molecule of CoASH is coming. So gives rise to 8 molecules of acetyl-CoA, 7 molecules of FADH2, 7 NADH plus H plus and 7 H plus. Okay. If you are calculating the energy using 2.5 and 1.5, then there is a slight difference in the energy production, 108 ATPs only. That is 108 in the pinne namala first activation step number of ATPs subtract total number of ATPs produced is 106. Clear? If you are taking 2.5 and 1.5, നേരത്തെ നമ്മൾ 3 2 ആയിട്ടാണ് കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്തത്. അപ്പോഴാണ് നമുക്ക് 129 ATPs വരുന്നത്. If exactly calculate ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ you get only 106 ATPs. Okay, so that is the energetics of beta oxidation. Then we are having regulation. How are fatty acid oxidation regulated? That's in the next video.